Going on, people? Welcome back to Saeed TV match reaction. Arsenal 3, Manchester United.
It's just embarrassing. It's bloody embarrassing. Apparently Rashford backs out of a tackle. Fucking hell. If you play shit, you get shit.
Don't like football anymore. I really don't.
Welcome to Monday Reaction with Roni, and a fantastic win for the Arsenal against the Mancunians of Manchester. And once again, it's time for a bit of salt. There's a bit of rice, the saltiness of the Mancunians. So let's just first of all start off with the team lineup. So Arsenal going to the conventional back 4-4-3-3 formation, with obviously Zinchenko being the inverted player. Ramsdale in goal, Ben 10 out of 10 White, who had a very difficult game, I would say. I won't call it very poor. I don't think Arsenal players other than Kai Havertz were poor, but he struggled against Rashford, especially on the counter-attack and when there was transition. Once again, Man United showing that they're good at that, but nothing much else. Then obviously at the back, we had Saliba and Gabriel. Gabriel was fantastic. At left back, Zinchenko, inverted role. He obviously couldn't complete 90 minutes because he's still building up his fitness. And then obviously in midfield, man of the match by a country mile, by far the best player on the field, Declan, Ice Baby, Rice. Fantastic performance, great winning goal, you can call it. And then obviously Kai Havertz struggled mostly in this game. And then obviously Odegaard looked good. Saka had a tough game against the low of all people. So I don't know if Man United really should be using Malacia or Reguilon. The low was really, really good, even though he at the end struggled, especially with the fact that it was such a hot day at the Emirates. And then obviously Martinelli was fantastic, and Nketiah worked his socks off. The ball bounced off him at times, but then again at other times he held the ball up quite well, and there was a couple of occasions where he actually beat the last defender and caused all sorts of havoc. 2 yellow cards against him. So, from a performance standpoint, Arsenal weren't at the absolute best, still had a lot of possession. Man United had a lot of possession, more in their attacking defensive half, if I can call it that. So, the middle of the pitch, Man United had a lot of ball, and they tried to play out from the back. Sometimes they sucked in Arsenal, especially when trying to create you can say overlaps, when Arsenal's front four tried to push up against Man United. So they basically tried to play out from the back with Onana, which was successful at times. They drew Arsenal in. You had Odegaard and Nketiah trying to press really high up, and then obviously Man United tried to beat the press. At times they were successful, especially when there were occasions where Rice was alone in midfield. He was fantastic for most of the game, and then they tried to get overloads in certain cases. Not a lot of the time. Anthony was quite a lot of the time alone, so Wan-Bissaka, who had a bit of a difficulty afternoon, I can call it, against Martinelli, and that was probably a key thing. So even though Wan-Bissaka defended well at times, the low defended well at times, they didn't really support their wide players. So Rashford was fantastic, was mostly alone when they attacked, and when they defended, I thought Rashford and Anthony did well. So give them their due in the times when they did well. Their front four, less so Martial, but the three behind Martial, I thought Rashford, Anthony, and Bruno Fernandes, from a defensive standpoint, tracking back, they did their job. Even though Arsenal still maintained possession, and good possession at times. Obviously the final ball missing, and then obviously a couple of chances that was created that wasn't taken. Kai Havertz and Saka should have scored. So when Man United talk about the offside, when they talk about a 50-50 possibility, and it wasn't a penalty, they did look at it again, even this dodgy VAR, it wasn't a penalty on Højlund. And then obviously there was an opportunity where I think the ball came off Saliba after Ramsdale made a great save. So those are their chances, other than their goal, of course, which was unforgivable once again. Kai Havertz, who had a bit of a mare. So it just seems like there's a theme building up. So obviously you get that situation where you feel like, number one, Arteta is shoehorning him into the team. I can understand his attributes now that could help in the left 8 position, but you don't want to call him lazy because his stats for running is one of the highest in the team. And you need to run quite a bit in that left 8 position up and down the pitch. So it's almost like a box-to-box role. So his stats looks good in terms of running, but he still does look lethargic at times, and that's just maybe the way he is. And then also in terms of the ball, it's quite slow. When it gets to him, he slows the play down a little bit, and I feel that's something he will still grow into the role. It's a very difficult role in Arteta's 4-3-3 system, the left 8. It took Xhaka quite some time to get the role, and then unfortunately, just as he really excelled at it, then he ended up going to Leverkusen. Fair enough. He wanted to have a bit of a change, so I don't have a problem with that, and I can understand it. But we're now struggling in the left 8 position. That is now until Vieira comes onto the field. So that part was a little bit disappointing. I thought Odegaard was good. Saka, it's a combination of the way that we're playing, a combination of White struggling against Rashford, and Delo having a good game defensively, one-on-one against Saka. So all of those things, and then also the midfield helped out. So if it wasn't Casemiro, it was Eriksen that came to help out Delo, or Bruno Fernandes that helped out on that side of the field. Even though you can say that he pushed more towards the Zinchenko side of things. But they did have double-up situations from a defensive standpoint, Man United. So I'm just trying to find reasons as to why I felt Saka didn't have a good game. However, Martinelli was fantastic, and Nketiah once again ran his socks off for the 70-odd minutes that he was on the field. So from that situations, and Arsenal looked for large parts, they looked good from a defensive setup standpoint. It's just that on transitions, and that's how Man United caught us at Old Trafford. They caught us at the Emirates. And again in this game, especially very disappointing for Kai Havertz to lose the ball the way he did. But then it was very disappointing then the defending. So you could put blame. Obviously, you put blame on Kai Havertz for giving the ball away. And Arsenal quite a number of times in this game gave the ball away. Once again, similar to the Fulham game and similar to Nottingham Forest the second half. They gave the ball away in dangerous positions when they are trying to get the formation going from a attacking standpoint, trying to create overloads and all that, but then the last pass goes awry. So then obviously giving the ball away, and then basically it's fear, you can call it that, because of what Rashford has done to Ben White in both games last season. And then obviously allowing him to cut in, and then obviously he's lethal when he shoots. And even though Ramsdale got a hand onto it, he couldn't get enough onto it to be able to push it against the post, on the outside of the post, I can say, or out. So fantastic goal, good goal for them. They created the opportunity. Despite the ball giveaway, there was still obviously quite a distance to goal, and then obviously a combination of Ben White and Saliba's positioning, getting in each other's way and allowing Rashford to get onto his stronger foot. So it could have been avoided. It wasn't a clear-cut opportunity that was just created. It could have been avoided. Good pass from the midfielder, might have been Eriksen. I can't remember who the midfielder from United was that got the ball and then passed it. I'm assuming it was Eriksen. Passed it to Rashford. And then he had to obviously do all the work with two defenders and a goalkeeper still to go. So that was a little bit disappointing. But 1-0, we were in control without creating a hell of a lot. And then obviously there was the Havertz opportunity, which he should have scored, completely scuffed his shot. And that was a goal that was much needed. Obviously that was earlier, and then obviously the mistake. And then obviously won a penalty early on in the second half. Went down a little bit too easy, in my opinion. How can you change the decision? So the first time I heard this from somebody, that a decision was overturned when there was contact. Remember, there was much less contact in other occasions. Man United's penalty this season, Rashford, less contact, but it was given, or it wasn't overturned after the referee was told to go do VAR in this game. So it just seemed like, once again, it's a theme where mistakes in other games. So, okay, I immediately said it wasn't a penalty. So let's just start there. I thought it wasn't a penalty. But then from there onwards, if you look at other games, the penalty gets given. Whether we debate that it's soft or all that, that's not the point. The point is it was given in other games, but it just so seems like when it comes to the Arsenal games, tight games, that the decisions is different to what it was in other games, whereby, Arsenal wanted the advantage of getting the penalty. So he did go down easily. It looked like Wan-Bissaka didn't really go for him. And then it also seemed like before the second contact, it seemed like he was going down already. So the referee is now seeing in slow motion that, okay, there was a little bit of contact at first from Wan-Bissaka, even though he tried to, not go in for the tackle. And in the second contact, there was contact again, very, very minimal, but it looked like he was going down before that second contact, obviously after the first contact. It was soft, but worse penalties were given. Much worse were given in other games, including for Man United in a game where they struggled against Forest. But that's neither here nor there. It wasn't a penalty, in my opinion, before VAR even. So you have to then accept that. So I wasn't extremely pissed off or anything, even though I was just thinking in other games it gets given and worse ones gets given. So... Oh yes, I didn't even get to the Arsenal goal. Fantastic for us to score barely a couple of minutes later. Once again, Man United switching off as they do in these big games away from home where they have a poor record. Arsenal 7 points before this game out of 9. Criticized by everybody, including our own fans. But nothing gets said about Man United's pathetic record away from home against the top 9. Another loss for them, comfortable loss for them, even though the game wasn't that comfortable. But fantastic goal from Odegaard. I was so upset after that first goal was just poorly given away. But Arsenal then immediately answered back with a fantastic, typical Odegaard goal into the corner, 1-1. And that was what it was at halftime. Obviously, I went into a bit of a tangent regarding the penalty, but that happened in the second half. And then there were times where United was a little bit more aggressive. They held onto the ball a little bit better, and they tended to push Arsenal a little bit back, most of the time on the counter-attack, but sometimes with ball as well. They had the opportunity, obviously, where Ramsdale saved it, and then it went off the foot of Saliba, I think it was, for them to have a corner. Arsenal's corners was really poor. The 12th corner was obviously the most important one, but very poor quality again from a team that was very dangerous last season from corners. Obviously Gabriel and Saliba and Rice, these guys are all tall. Thomas Partey also good in the box. Unfortunately, Thomas Partey injured again. So we were very good in the box, especially we didn't really concede from corners, and then we also were very dangerous from corners. I thought Saka's corners was quite good, but Martinelli was very poor. So dead ball situations is a bit of a problem. We need to continue working on that. We've got a dead ball coach, and then also our corners are very, very poor the entire season so far. Right, so we are now at 1-1. Loads of issues. Well, not issues. It was very hot as well. So a very interesting thing, the substitutions. Man United, obviously, they went a little bit earlier with their substitutions. Garnacho, fantastic player. I don't know what's going on there. He should be starting. Obviously, they want to play Rashford. They probably want to play Højlund. And then Anthony plays on the right. So now I don't know what they're going to do, but Garnacho needs to somehow get into their team. Anthony again, I thought Anthony worked really hard. The same like Rashford when they tried to... kind of watch Arsenal's wingers, who is probably one of our we tricky wingers, and our strength. One of our strength of our team is our wingers, even though we've got other ways that we're trying to play now. But so I thought Anthony worked hard off the ball, but he wasn't really great on the ball. Garnacho came on, caused a bit of problems. He was slightly offside. Now, various opinions. You get opinions from obviously people that supports the one team or the other. You've got people that was in the stadium that said it was quite comfortably offside. People that actually was in line with Garnacho. So take away now the pausing on TV. People at the stadium said that he was offside. You could see from the start. I thought it was offside from the start. So the same way I thought it wasn't a penalty, the same way I thought Saka and Havertz should have scored, I thought that this was offside the moment I saw it for the first time. I'm obviously not there. I'm on my TV, watching on my TV. So I thought it was offside, and then it would have been really unfortunate for Arsenal to lose that way. I know Man United, dangerous on the counter-attack. They're scoring constantly against us on the counter-attack. They're not really playing football. So that's a bit disappointing that is how they tend to do well against us, but not today. And then obviously the goal wasn't eventually given for being slightly offside, but people at the ground said it was a little bit more clearer in live play. But okay, that could be just, being biased or something like that. The reality is it was offside. Now, with these goals, I tend to feel, and I think Wenger also said it, that you need to give the advantage to the forward. And when Arsenal get these close ones, I think Liverpool in the Chelsea game had a very close one. Chilwell, I think in the Chelsea game also had a very close one. So those ones I think needs to go the advantage to the attacker. So in that case, Arsenal would have been 2-1 down. There was still time to come and get the equaliser in that situation. But fantastic. 1-1 still, and Arsenal kept on pushing, and the substitutions were fantastic. Vieira, Tomiyasu was getting involved, and he was obviously being very physical. He was able to get the ball and get rid of the ball, which is the most important thing when you are coming on. So that was important, and then obviously Vieira was fantastic once again, and then Nelson yet again. We need to give this guy minutes. We need to trust him. The only thing is just that he's so much better on the left than on the right, and we are feeling or hoping that he's a Saka kind of. And Saka's not having a good game. I know you have to keep Saka on the field. PFA Young Player of the Season, fantastic, but he didn't have a great game. So I don't know what's going to happen in certain games when we need to possibly take Saka off if he's not having a great game. You can't just, I know he can score from nothing, but Nelson once again. So Nelson and Smith Rowe and Trossard and Martinelli all more comfortable on the left. So that's going to be tricky for us in the season. But Tomiyasu getting rid of the ball, playing in midfield, that the presence of the guy, and winning headers as well, or competing for headers when Man United tried to get rid of the ball when Arsenal are attacking. So from that side, that was obviously Wan-Bissaka's side. He clearly got tired late on. And then obviously the key thing was Lisandro Martinez, who I thought had a very good game once again against the Arsenal. All 4 games, including the friendly, he had very good games against Arsenal. And then obviously the fact that Evans and Maguire was on for Man United. I mean, their fans were going crazy that it's 2023 and that's their centre-backs at the key stage of the Arsenal game. But good for us. And then obviously our second goal. Now, Peter Schmeichel, even though I don't watch post-match talks and all this, I just for some reason had it on, and he was absolutely desperate to say that there was no touch. So I didn't see Man United players complaining once the corner was given. So even though they tried to analyze how is it that Arsenal could score a goal, every of our goals was overly analyzed. So anyway. So, despite the fact that it was overanalyzed with regards to the trajectory of the ball, if it is that there was a touch, but it was given. A corner was given. I didn't see Man United complain. And then there was obviously the incident in the box from the corner where Evans and Gabriel had a bit of a love fest. They couldn't stop hugging each other, and it just seemed like it was more smarter. Yes, it could have been given a foul, but smart work from Gabriel at the start of the bit of a scuffle that they had. It looked like he was pulling him, and then as the ball got to or past them and got to Rice, it just seemed like it seemed by the pictures that Evans actually pulled Gabriel down. So fantastic work. Two things from Gabriel in terms of the Garnacho goal where he stepped out so that it can be offside, and then also being very smart in the box. And that's the type of things that Arsenal need to start learning. Man City does it well. Man United did it over the years. And Real Madrid, Barcelona, they're very smart with these dark art stuff. But anyway, it wasn't a free kick. It wasn't given. It could have been given. And just remember again, VAR did look at everything. And a fantastic finish from Rice, baby. A fantastic occasion. I thought he would score today. I just had that feeling. And then in the post-match the post-match interview, he also said everybody said that he was going to score today. And it just these things stick. And a fantastic goal. The stadium absolutely erupted. Obviously, I'm here all the way in South Africa, and I've got the speakers on very loud. You could just hear how the sound mics were absolutely breaking in the stadium because of the noise. So obviously it must have been amazing to be there in that final bit. So Arsenal scoring a late winner yet again, same as in Nketiah in January this year, where we beat Man United 3-2 and it was 2-1. And then obviously all this time that was added on again. You are playing over 100 minutes every game, it seems, these days. On a very hot day, both teams really tired. I thought Arsenal's substitutions were first of all brilliant, the players that came on, and then obviously the tiredness, obviously because of how hot it was in London. Arsenal made their big changes late on, still kept going, kept pushing. Man United didn't really push the way we did. And obviously we got the rewards at the end, and then a fantastic goal to seal the victory from Gabriel Jesus, the Man United player lying on the floor. I don't know if it's Evans, I think it's Delo, that was just lying on the floor, and there's pictures of that, which I will hopefully put on here, of the player lying on the floor. So Arsenal winning 3-1. The score does flatter us a little bit, or it flatters us, because United did look dangerous at times. However, Arsenal missed 2 sitters. It's sitters. So just 4-2, for example, could have been probably a fair result if you think about it. So let's take the 3-1. So you can say flatter, but then Havertz and Saka missed clear opportunities. The penalty could have been given because softer ones were given in the past. So we're talking now about Arsenal in the vicinity of 6 here now. So minus the 2 late goals, there could have been 3 other goals scored by Arsenal. And yes, I know, Man United had the opportunity with Garnacho, which could have been given on another day by split millimeters. And then also they had 1 other chance. So if you put just chances alone, not about Man United just playing counter-attacking football and looking dangerous, because Arsenal have less numbers because they're pushing for goals. Arsenal had other opportunities as well. So I will leave it there. I'm not going to go too deep into the Mancunians. I detest them because they already now, I'm seeing excuses. There's certain ways to analyze a football game. Have a look at the chances first of all. Look at the way that you played, and then, the disappointing the from the man. But that's why I despise him. That's why I mention them in my videos, because football IQ is down in the mud. But I will leave it there. That's my match reaction. A long one for today, but a deserved win for Arsenal. If it had to be 2-1 or 3-2, Garnacho's goal stands and Arsenal score the others, that would have been fair. 3 points where you can debate about 3-1, 4-2, 5-3, whatever you want to do. A well-deserved win, and Arsenal going to the international break. International break now on the up and still looking to get much better. Remember, Arsenal weren't brilliant yesterday. So we're still looking to get better. We lost at Everton last season. They're struggling. They had a very poor draw against Sheffield again, but they were struggling last season as well, and they beat us 1-0 last season. I think it might have been February, also after an international break. It was also after, or some sort of break, and then we played them, and then we lost 1-0 to them. So let's sort them out. But don't forget, Wednesday I will be releasing my Off Your Game show. Sorry, the Gunning Truth show, not Off Your Game. Off Your Game is on the weekend. That is with me and Josh, and then also my podcast on Friday, and then it's international break, so a bit of a break on all things Arsenal. Come on, you Gunners. The Mancunians got beaten.